Hey, what's going on, everybody? I finally did it. I finally got an interview with somebody famous. Stay tuned. So after a while of going back and forth, finally got an interview with this person. So I want you guys to give a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Adam Ant. Mr. Ant, where are you going? Wait a minute, we're supposed to be doing an interview. Come back here. Why are you running away? Come on. We talked about this. Don't do this to me. I told everybody I was going to hand it for an interview with you. No. Maybe next time.
I mean, that's the story of my life. No respect. I don't get no respect at all. Are you
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's right. Adore him.
Every time I get in an elevator, the operator says the same thing to me. Basement? Why, I went to the zoo, the lion kept going like this to me. I mean, it's not easy being me. When I was born, the doctor told my mother I did all I could, but he pulled through anyway. And that's my trouble today. I got the wrong doctor. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombots. You know my doctor? Oh my God, what a doctor, you kidding? What a doctor. I told him I want a vasectomy. He said, with a face like mine, I don't need one. Are you kidding? I know I'm ugly. My mother breastfed me through a straw. Are you kidding? The hooker told me not in the first date. I'm ugly, I'm telling you. My proctologist, he stuck his finger in my mouth. Good crowd. I tell you, now, tonight I'm going to go down in the dumps, you know. I mean, this afternoon, my wife cracked up the car again. I was out driving her. She told me she was going to make a U-turn. I'll tell you, the letter she made, you'll never find any out there. I tell you, with my wife, when she's behind the wheel, there's always something, you know. Oh, the last time I was out with her, I saw one guy. He gave her a good piece of his mind. It was right after she took a good piece of his leg. I don't know, I'll tell you the truth, with my car, I got nothing but trouble, you know. I got plenty of tickets. In fact, I got so many tickets I had to go downtown to the Motor Vehicle Bureau. I didn't even know in my case a court case. Supposed to bring a lawyer with me. I had no lawyer, but the court was very nice. They gave me a lawyer. My lawyer walked in, I recognized him. He was a waiter in my neighborhood, you know. And I'll tell you, being a waiter had an effect on the way this guy practiced law. I mean, I knew I was in trouble as soon as we walked in the courtroom. He carried his briefcase like this.
Hey everybody, what's going on? You're looking at a 2006 fake Gibson gold top Les Paul standard. And what I've tried to accomplish with these Chibson guitars is how to make them a little bit better, how bad they are or could be as far as finish and everything else goes. And this is from a different factory that I'm going to get into as far as what I see that this factory kind of fucked up compared to the other ones that I've got. So stay tuned. Oh no, another Chibson. I know, I said I wasn't going to do it. I did it anyways. This is supposed to be a replica of a 2006 gold top. standard. Now, it is a Chibson, so I'm warning you guys right now. And what I'm trying to do with these videos is basically show a difference between this factory and that factory, which I've already done enough videos of those Chibson guitars. There was 3 of them. The custom, and I believe there was another standard, and then I had the what the hell was it? The Slash. Yes, thanks for reminding me. This one here is a gold top from a different factory. Now, although those guys paid attention to the finish pretty damn well, but not so much the detail before the finish. So you see a little bit of glue here and there through the finish, and you know, the stain. Binding doesn't look bad. You know, some things look pretty good on it, and as far as the finishing goes, the sanding, the buffing, really nice. These guys here, not so much. This factory here, I'm going to show you some flaws that hopefully you could see with the camera, because even though this finish looks pretty damn amazing, and it may be hard to see, but as you can see right there, there is a piece of dust in the finish, probably the clear coat. There's some dust that's right over here too. There's a little piece of dust right on the edge of the chip. And there's a few more other pieces of dust inside of here too, but yeah, there's something going on right over here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's something like right over here. It doesn't feel like a divot, but it looks like a little divot. Now, they flooded the clear coat on this thing. I mean, they flooded a lot of clear on top of this guitar. Now, the one thing I want to kind of show you guys is this shit right here. They did a horseshit job as far as finishing it goes. It looks like they added a wood filler or something over here, and they couldn't sand it properly before they painted the guitar. And it's also on this side as well. Now, the paint job that you did down here is not bad. All right, they could have spent a little bit more time on wet sanding it and getting out some of the imperfections that are in the finish as far as the dirt goes. The sides are another story. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not, but these sides are really fucking wavy. They're not like flat, smooth. They're wavy as hell. And even on the back of the neck, see if I can prop that up correctly. It's like right there, there's a divot. And you could feel that divot a little bit, but I know what it looks like as far as being a dent into wood compared to a dent in clear. And the way this clear looks, like if you look at, there's a light line right here, and you can see how, I don't know if you could see it or not, but I could see it, how wavy that line is. And even like over here, there's like a little bit of the reflection of the fluorescence. There's like a right in here, it kind of dips in a little bit. And my arm is kind of blocking the camera. And this is like all wavy. You could feel it. I mean, they flooded the piss out of this thing. The pocket over here looks like it's finished very, very well. There is no cracking going on. There's nothing going on over here. Same thing with over here. It looks pretty good. They went all the way down with the binding. Over here feels pretty good as far as how they finished it goes. It doesn't feel real wavy. The back is not too bad, but there is some waves in it. Got some dust floating around here. And if you look at the back of this thing, he's got my fingerprints all over it. Sorry about that. It looks like it's one piece of wood. All right, there's actually a veneer on the back of this. And the sides, you could tell on the sides when you look at them, you can see the rough grain on the bottom over here compared to the sides over here where it's different pieces of wood. There's about 4 pieces of wood that are constructed on this guitar. Headstock, again, you know, cheap ass fucking tuners, again with the made in USA and the fake serial number. These tuners, they do not say Grover or even Gibson Deluxe on them, but they do work, and it's been working pretty good. So the fretboard is a rosewood, and it feels pretty good up until you get to about right here, and then they start getting a little sharp. on the sides. And also on these frets, you could tell that the strings, it's not smooth, not very smooth at all. It's like somebody went over it with sandpaper and didn't finish them off afterwards. So that has to be redone. I already know it's going to need a fucking leveling job on it. The inlays themselves, I've seen Epiphone do worse as far as the filler around the inlays. So those aren't too bad. Action height on this son of a bitch is way out there on that first fret. It's intonated pretty close, not very well, but it's there. And when I go ahead and fret certain areas that I know what they're supposed to be, they're not. So the nut really needs to come down quite a bit. This area over here where the controls are, I have a plate that basically shows what the way Gibson has their layout. I matched this up with my actual Gibson Les Paul guitar, and these do line up with it. So if I go ahead and place this on top of here and get one of the circles from the top of the knob, you can see how the rest of them do not match up. So I don't know, for 2006 Gibson Les Paul Gold Top, if there was a different template that is used to go ahead and drill these out. But pickups are a pretty standard humbucker pickup, Chinese style. And yeah, the only thing I gotta say is the chrome on the hardware on this is actually pretty nice. Got some rubbing compound and some from the buffing wheel. Now the bridge here, standard tune-o-matic, but it doesn't have the little thumb knobs over here. And I'm looking at these screws, and these heads are huge on these screws. So I don't know if that is supposed to be something that Gibson would have done as well. And yeah. So this thing here is the knob, the cover for the knob, or whatever you want to call this, the plastic part of it, is a little bit different than the binding and the rest of it. It's got a little bit of a pink tint to it. All in all, you get what you pay for. It's a Chibson. So let me crack this thing open. All right, first off, notice right away they use the shielding paint on both cavities, but they did not use any shielding tape or anything on the back covers. So basically, from all the Chibsons I've seen so far, they all have this plug going to the three-way switch. Three-way switch is pretty basic. I doubt if it's a Switchcraft switch or not. The pots are made in Korea. One thing that I noticed though is usually you have a green cap inside of here. These are orange ones, which I don't think is that much of a big deal. I think it's probably the same quality as the green caps are, just a different value. And same wiring as I see in all these Chibsons. It's basically a standard. They did a better soldering job inside of here than they did on some of the other ones that I had or have. And yeah, so I picked up a bunch of supplies to like redo the guitar. And to be honest with you, I really don't think this guitar here is worth upgrading anything. I think I'm just going to leave this thing alone. Again, it's one of those things you get what you pay for. As you can see with the light and stuff like that, it's pretty bumpy, the neck. If I took some sandpaper and went over this, just cupped it with my hand and lightly went over this with some 800 or 1000, you'll probably see a lot of shiny spots because of all the waves. I noticed there is no scarf joint over here. And I can't really tell if there's a heel joint over here or not. It's pretty dark, but it's see-through over here, and I'd be able to tell if there was. So all in all, it's a Chibson. You get what you pay for. It's one of those things. And is it right? Is it wrong? Should you invest? Should you not invest? This was kind of a little bit of a test that I wanted to do myself with the Chibson guitars. Basically, going from one factory to another factory to see what type of a guitar you're actually going to get. Is it going to be any good? Is it going to be worth the money that you spend, a couple $100 or whatever, for a Chibson guitar? And I gotta say, it's pretty much a toss up. I know some of you guys who do buy a lot of the Chibsons uh, basically buy them, Gibsons are a little bit higher in price, and you could change and do a lot with these Chibson guitars and make it, something that you want it to be, which is fine and dandy. I kind of agree with you on that up to a point. I know I've done it myself. Take a Chibson and make it a little bit better, but it's not a Gibson, and the quality that you may get or may not get with a Chibson guitar, um, I gotta say it's not worth it. Like this one here, I've got Seymour Duncan pickups sitting over here. I got Grover tuners sitting over here, CTS pots and everything else. And to me, doing an upgrade on this guitar here, I would have to say that it might be just a waste of time to do so. So a lot of you guys could sit there and say, yeah, you wasted your money on another Chibson, which I did. But that's my doing, not yours. So really, it's my problem, not your problem. It is what it is. Now, those Chibsons over there, I've been having pretty good luck with. I got a strap on that one, and I've been using it a little bit here and there, just fool them around. Become mostly a collector, not really a player that much anymore. But maybe that'll change. Who knows? I did do a number because this headstock looked like it was really like on an angle. So I don't know what the headstock angle is supposed to be on a Gibson guitar, and if it varies from Gibson guitar to a different model of Gibson. Now, I leveled out the neck, and when I mean level it out, I put a small level on here that's got a water bubble, so you know your level. And I put a angle meter on here, and it comes out to be like almost 20 degrees on an angle. So I don't know if that's correct or not. Maybe not. Who knows? Probably more not than yes. I could match that up with the actual Gibsons I have, but that one's a traditional, and I don't know if there's a difference between different headstock shapes and different headstocks in general. Like that one there has got a binding around it, and it's a little bit bigger. This one is not. All in all, it's a Chibson. What can I say? You can waste your money on them and get something that is pretty good, or you can waste your money on it and get something that has dirt in the finish, flaws like this, bad hardware, bad electronics, shitty pickups, you name it. Could be worse. Could be a lot worse. Now, looking at this fretboard and looking at how the strings go down the fretboard, I gotta say it lines up pretty evenly on both sides. Strings aren't pushing one side more than the other. The bridge seems to be lining up where it's supposed to be. Like I said, the intonation is kind of there. I mean, I still have some play here where they have these set up to where I can still move it, and the pattern looks pretty good. Now, as far as these pickups go, I've had it plugged in. They make sound. You flip the switch and you can kind of hear like there's a spring or something inside there. So, I kind of, I hear that a lot with some other guitars too, but who knows. Anyways, and then you have your little straps, which are different. Your strap locks are a little bit different than the normal strap locks. These are a little bit more chunkier. They got a sharper edge around it instead of being V'd out, which I'm not too sure if that is a standard for a gold top either. The neck itself it's pretty chunky. It's a little bit on the thick side compared to, this seller here or this factory over here. The neck profiles are, I don't know, they just seem to feel a lot better than what this one does. And I'm not too sure of the radius. I have to look up even if it has a radius. Who fucking knows? But I have to look to see what the radius is on this thing with my gauges. And I will do that when I put new strings on there. And I am going to do a fret level job on this thing and clean up the frets, set up the nut the way it's supposed to be. I can see right there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little indentation where he missed, or she missed, the right area of the nut and put a gouge in it. But it's a plastic nut. Go figure, right? So anyways, that's it. I do have another Chibson from this same factory coming. That way I have two guitars to compare from the same company, just like I did when I had three guitars from that company, or factory, not company, but factory. And all in all, those guys there seem to be pretty decent of a guitar. This factory here, so far from what I'm seeing with this one here, this is going to be a wall hanging. What can I say?
You've been a great crowd. Drop it again. I'm always around, okay? You're beautiful people.